Okay, now we're going to do some touch up to the fairway. We're going to add grunge to it, and we're going to alter this split. You know, I want this split to show up a little more prominently. And if you look at it here, it's there's not a huge difference between left and right. And so what I want to do is create a layer here in Photoshop that we're going to just darken the fairway. So create a new layer, call this Fairway FW Darken. Now, because I'm solely working in black on this layer, if you just pick your black tool or pick your color as black and your paintbrush tool, you can paint in black here. And then I'll show you, the faster way to do this maybe is just to use your selection tool. And just, you can lasso. That's not showing up. You might just lasso like this, pick, you know, just kind of like we do in Unity, and then pick down the middle. Problem here is this will give you a hard edge, so you have to feather it, you know, by 5 pixels or so, and then you can fill this in with black. May have feathered it too much, but that would be one way to do it, or you could just paint it in. And then remember, you can always go back and edit this. And now I'm not masking it. You can do it as a mask, but since it's doing one thing, I don't need the variation that I wanted with the other ones. And so then I'm going to turn the opacity of this down. So we're just darkening this a small percentage. You know, darken it up 6%. And come up here and do that. Change the size of that. Squeak through there. So you kind of get the idea. Now this, it didn't come all the way up here, and that's, they stopped the mowing there. You know, you can take some liberty and decide you want to alter how the mowing was done and bring it up a little further. And then I took it too far there. Just erasing some of that. Okay, so you can see now how I changed that divide, and we're going to save that and see how our changes look. And one thing I didn't show you guys was how you can see, unfortunately you're not going to be able to see this darkened layer unless you turn it all the way up. But one way you can see your masked layer is by hitting the Alt button in left mouse. So see this? This was that green rough we painted in. So if you ever want to see what's happening and you want to look at your mask, or sometimes this is actually important to see where you've masked, you hold down Alt and hit left mouse on your masked layer. And see, now I can look at my different masks. And then you just hit left mouse back on any of these other ones, and it will come back, you know, any of the far left diffuse colors. So let's look at what we're at in Unity. And this is just darkening the left side of the fairway, and then we're going to add grunge on top of it. So you can see that worked out. Looking pretty good there. You know, and I'm always flying around trying to get better views. Did that look good? Is that right? And now you can even see some of this pattern over here. That might be terrain, or it could just be how the helicopter, or the whatever, the satellite image, sorry, picked that up. So you may want to take some of that out. So if you look here, yeah, that's in there. You may just want to stamp over that. You go back to your stamp layer. I mean, you might want to leave some of that variation there, but if some of it looks odd, you can take that out. You can also go to your stamp layer and smooth some of that out. You know, maybe you just want to blur it a little bit. And then remember, I'm just affecting what I've stamped, so that's probably not going to look that good. Let's just leave that as is. Now the only thing I want to do is add some grunge to the fairway, and we're going to do that as a masked layer. But let's create a new layer, and we're going to call this Fairway Grunge. Actually, I'm going to do it to the whole course, is how I've done this on mine, is grunge. Now what we need to do is get a grunge texture. And so we head out to the internet and you can look for distress textures or grunge texture. And I want something with just sort of like fine scratches. And so let me see, CG textures. I may have pulled mine. Probably going to just use the one that I got. I may have pulled mine from Substance. But let's see if we've got like scratches. Okay, perfect. This is actually the one I'm using. So if you go into CG Textures, get yourself registered there if you're not. This is actually the one I believe I'm using in my project. You know, unfortunately, you can only get access to smaller textures. But if you want, I guess, sign up for premium, you can get these larger ones. But I've downloaded this one. Let's do it here just to show you. And we're going to save this. And I've got a bazillion textures in here. I don't know if I put it in my patterns or my grunge, but for right now, we'll put it in here. That's actually the exact same file. Okay, so let's come back into Photoshop, and what we're going to do is open that grunge texture that we just downloaded. And we're going to make it as what's called a pattern. And now this is 512 by 512. If we copy this, let's just bring it in to make sure the line size is okay. So I did select all, edit, copy. We're going to come into here and we're going to do edit, paste. And make sure you're on the higher layer because it's going to paste over top of everything. Otherwise, it'll be hidden. So we're going to paste that in, and then we're going to do this as a overlay. We'll put dark scratches. We don't want that. What happens if we lighten? Let's invert it. Image, adjustments, invert. Let's see if that's what I want. Can't remember what I want here. My brain's gonna put that back to the way it was. Okay. I'm gonna pause for just a quick sec. Sorry about that. Anyway, what we wanted was, I think divide will work best for us here. So I've got that white texture. If I put it normally, it's going to take the black lines here and make them white. There are many ways to do that, but that's what my brain's going to accept at the moment, is divide. And so you can see now we're putting some scratches in here, and I think that's going to be about the right size. So if we save this, this one may not be the texture I'm using on Sciota. It seems like this one's got too many scratches in it. And then I'm going to show you, we're going to use the masks that we've used before, and we can remove it from certain areas. Yeah, that's pretty it's pretty intense there. What we could do is we could break it up, but let's first fill the entire screen with that. So I like the sizes of the scratches. What I was getting to is if you want these scratches to show up bigger, we can change the image size. Or if you want the scratches to show up smaller, we could also then change the image size smaller. But when you move them, change in increments of powers of 2. So this would move either to 1024 or to 256 because we're going to tile it into our 8K texture here and it'll make sense. But what we're going to do is create a pattern from this. And so we go Edit, Define Pattern, and then choose OK. And now this is really cool. If we come in here and we're on this grunge layer, let me delete what I've got in there first. Select all, delete that. Now what we can do is fill this entire screen with that pattern. And so if you go Edit, Fill, and then you come in here and you pick the custom pattern that you just had imported. You won't have as many as I do here. But then you'll see it's going to cover our entire course. It basically just tiles that perfectly for us, which is great. So now our course is just covered in grunge. And you're going to need some of that. That's kind of like our carts driving everywhere. But we're going to tone it down. a little bit. And you can also see it's impacting the color. So one, we're gonna change. It's changing the value a little bit here, but not in a bad way, I don't think. But we can individually impact the value of this as well. So first, let's turn it down so it's not so prominent. Now you can mask this because what I do is in my project, I'm taking it off I took it off all of my first cut, and so I'm going to mask this and show you why. So this time we're going to reveal all. So layer mask reveal all, which means it's all going to be present, which is white, and then when we paint, I'm painting in black to make it disappear. And in the end, what I do in my project, and I'm not real careful about this, but I delete this. If you see this now, you want me to go look at the mask so I can show you what's happening. Alt left click here. See that? I'm just drawing black there. It's cleaning it. It's cleaning this grunge off because it's nice tight grass and it rebounds well and it doesn't take the tire tracks as well. I just like it. It breaks also this up from the fairway in the rough. You could leave it if you want. This is just that one more extra step that I do that makes me take a course and take an eternity to finish. And then you can save that. Let's go see what we're looking like now. But then one thing real quick, and then I'll be done with this one, is I just want to show you the level adjustment on this as well. Okay, looking pretty good, looking pretty good. So maybe we don't want this to be so bright or impactful. We can keep lightening it. We can keep lightening it. And now maybe I wouldn't do this for this layer, but I just want to show you this idea. Is we can apply a levels adjustment to just this layer. So if I create one by just using the Pepsi and do levels, it's to the entire project below, everything below. But if you right click on it and you choose create clipping mask, then it only applies it to the one layer below the clipping mask. And so now when I do a levels adjustment, it's only on, see how I can make it, the scratches really show up? You know, now it's only on that layer. And truthfully for this, you could probably just deal with opacity, but there will be times when you have maybe this allows me to reduce some of the grunge. You see that? So this is the value of it. There are times I'm reducing some of that black-white, and I wish we could see the entire image. So yeah, let's do it. Let's turn it all the way at 100% so you can see what you're doing. Sorry, I just changed my level. I wish I could, yeah, change this to normal. That's what I want. So now you can see what you're doing. See how I removed some of that, but you want some of that grunge back in. You know, it's just a fine tuning of that. And now let's put this back to divide, so it will show us what we're doing. And then let's turn down the opacity of it. And now it's present, but it's not as, which I feel like I screwed it up. I like it. And let's turn that down a little bit there. It's probably pretty good. Just tweak. And then once you get it to a place you like, then all you've got to do is go in and erase it from places you don't want it. So yeah, that's a good point. Is other places I do not have it, and you'll have to see. We're going to do T's later, and we have a specific T mask that you know, where all my T's are separated from the rest. I'm not on the mask, so this is a bad thing. I'm going to undo what I just did. But you want to be on the mask here, and you're going to paint in black and get rid of those grunge lines on your green. And then you're also going to want to get, I mean, you could get rid of them in your bunker or whatever, but we also want to get rid of them on our tee boxes. And now I have a different way of doing this because I have all my tee boxes outlined in a mask created specifically for my tee boxes, so I can reload my tee box mask. I'll teach you that when we paint lines on our tee boxes. But in the end, same idea. You know, you're just going to take the grunge off of the tee boxes as well. I'm starting to wonder if I can provide maybe like a basic everything, like a Photoshop file, maybe with the green rough and the brown rough all provided, and then you just have to go in and tweak your masks. So you wouldn't want to do that. Get rid of it all in your fairway. But Control Z that, and see how it's just non-destructively, it's easy to work. And I know it's going to seem like it's going to take really long to do all this, but I just did 2 greens in under 4 seconds. I mean, somebody want to time me? I'll do 3 greens here. Ready? Time me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and I mean, come on now. Save this and let's see where we're at. Cool, getting there.